Okay, I am making another video. I haven't made a video in a couple weeks actually. Been busy with different things in life. Been busy at work and my new baby and just life in general. And it's, you know, everyone already knows this. I'm a little late to this, but there's been a huge update to the shop. So a lot of my old builds obviously are broken now because the items are changed. So I'm just updating my my funnest, in my opinion, funnest Dynamo build. I used to have a pizza delivery build. This one's a little different on the focus. Pizza delivery is mainly like the ult. Impregnator is like the kinetic pulse focus. So this is kind of both, but it's more so kinetic pulse, support, utility, and there is still some stuff for the ult. Like you're still going to have a cooldown reduction for the ult. Things like that. Anyway, we'll get into it. I'm going to talk about every item and why I like to get it and how I kind of think about it as I'm buying. That way you can make your own decisions on whether you want to even skip items or whatever. So as you can see, it's ordered, but it's not like, if you skip around, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. If you want to buy this before, it doesn't matter. Anyway, extra regen is super nice in lane, helps you have more sustain even on top of your rejuvenating aura. Plus, it does actually build into healing booster, which will eventually build into healing tempo. So it's kind of nice how it works that way, and the money is used later on. Extra charge, the whole idea of this build is using kinetic pulse as much as possible and just hitting really hard. So extra charge is super nice. It gives you another charge on it, and it does upgrade into rapid recharge. This will make so you can cast it 50% faster between charges, plus 2 extra charges, and bonus spirit power for charged abilities, so plus 10. And that's going to allow you to just use this pretty much whenever you want. Mystic Burst, self-explanatory, makes this burst a little higher. Plus upgrades into Tank Buster. Tank Buster is just improved burst from before. Extra Spirit, so this actually upgrades into 2 different things. This upgrades into an improved Spirit and then a Boundless, and it also upgrades into a Power Surge. The first time we get this, it's going to go into a Power Surge because we want to imbue this on top of the Kinetic Pulse. It makes Kinetic Pulse just hit really hard. When you use it, you get movement speed and fire rate, so it's going to help with that because as you can see, we're lacking in the fire rate section. There's no orange items in this build, right? Obviously, if you really want to, you can get orange items. One of them that's not too bad is getting monster rounds into Cult of Sacrifice because the gun isn't very good in lane for clearing wave, plus upgrading into this will give you bonus health and ability range, making your ult bigger. So that is an optional, and honestly, I'm going to put that in the situational section. Okay, I just added it down here to situational. Again, just like every one of my builds, I have a situational section that you can jump down and grab any of these at any time. It's not like, oh, after lane phase, then you can get this. After this, then you can get this. Anytime you want any of these are items that are good situationally, right? So for example, rebuttal. If you're going against a Viscous and like a Shiv or Abrams or something in lane and they just love smashing melee, grab this. It's worth it, right? If you know you want to go into healing Nova, it's okay to grab a healing right like really early on just so you have more healing, right? So situational you can always get at any time, but I'll go over those. Anyway, extra stamina, super nice because this guy, you kind of want to be able to maneuver around real quick so you can get quantum entanglements off properly and get singularity off properly. This upgrades into Arcane Surge. This is what I usually like to go for because if you dash jump right before you go into it, so if you like dash jump and then blink into them and ult, the area is really big and the duration is really long. Usually I like to go for this. However, sometimes I would go for Stamina Mastery on the upgrade. Typically, you're going to go straight into Arcane Surge though. But yeah. Enchanter's Emblem is nice. It's kind of like a ghetto spirit resistance. It gives you 18 spirit resistance. It gives you some regen. It's alright. Doesn't matter. But it also gives you cooldown reduction and spirit power. It's relatively cheap. This item is kind of your item that you're going to sell if you are hurting for a flex slot later on and you're trying to get a better item. Then you can always just sell this and get $800 back. So think of it kind of like it's an early item you most likely are going to sell, but depends on how long the game goes, really. Healing Booster, upgraded from extra regen. Increase the effectiveness of all your healing. That includes rejuvenating aura. Plus, this will eventually upgrade into healing tempo. Super nice. Guardian Ward, ability range. Makes your ult bigger. Makes your stomp, kinetic pulse go further. Really nice. Gives you an active, which you can use on yourself or someone else. If you use it on someone else, the cooldown is cut in half. and this does eventually upgrade into Divine Barrier, which is kind of like a debuff remover besides stuns, right? But this works for all, even ult. So like you can cleanse pocket ult with this. So pretty nice. Power Surge, we kind of already talked about it. It goes on to Kinetic Pulse. Warp Stone, this is kind of just like, in my opinion, an always buy, because the bullet resistance is actually pretty nice. Being able to blink is super nice. Being able to blink is almost crucial for you to consistently land Singularity. Otherwise, you kind of just are praying they come to you, because if you just walk towards them, your guy's one of the slowest guys in the game. They're going to just walk the other direction, right? So you kind of have to, in a fight, you see an opportunity, blink and ult. So I always get this. Always. So plus it's just fun to have, to be honest. So good item. Rapid Recharge, upgraded from Extra Charge. It's crucial for the build. Works for that. Tank Buster, same thing. Makes this hit freaking hard. Compress cooldown, I would imbue the ult. This is kind of where it also helps with the ult, because you can just ult more often. This ult is the best ability in the game, basically. So you want to use it, you know. I get this to there, and the reason I upgrade it is because it's taking a slot anyway, and it increases the amount of reduction, plus it applies to everything after you upgrade it. So it's worth upgrading. Late game items. Again, none of these are ordered. The only thing I would say is I would pretty much always get Mystic Reverb very first. So gives you some Spirit Lifesteal, so when you're ulting, you're a little more tanky. Not a lot, but a little bit. But really, the passive, you imbue onto Kinetic Pulse, and I can just show what it does real fast. Just a little circle on him. When you hit him with the ability, the little circle will slowly go in and close. And when it hits him, it does a second burst of damage, and they're slowed. Just really nice, and this is going to be really, really easy to keep on consistently with Kinetic Pulse. Healing tempo, 30% healing effectiveness increase. It's kind of good for the anti-heal meta. It counteracts that. Plus, anytime you apply healing, so anytime you do this really, then you get even more fire rate, even more movement speed. And this already gives you movement speed when you have it upgraded, so it just makes it go really fast. Spirit Burn, this gives 70% healing reduction anytime you do at least 400 damage, which this will do it every time. So when you have all your stuff on this, anytime this hits someone, they're going to get Spirit Burned. It's going to explode even more damage into a burn on them, and the burn lasts for 8 seconds unless you have anything increasing the duration, which, you know, something like this would. It does a lot of damage over time, and that ability range on top of this makes your ult even bigger. Everything's even bigger, and with this 20%, 10%, they add up. There is a little bit diminishing return, but they do add up because they're different sources. So right here, I have an improved spirit back in here because remember, our extra spirit we turned into a surge of power. Right here, we can grab an improved spirit and put it into a boundless. This will make so anytime you cast any ability, this will proc, and it just heals you, right? So you get the movement speed off of this, you get the movement speed off of this, and then if you cast this, you get the movement speed off of this. So when you have all of those things giving movement speed, Dynamo is no longer one of the slowest guys in the game. He's like actually pretty quick. Witch Mel, really nice spirit resistance. A lot of times you're selling this by the time you're getting this, but again, it depends on your flex slots. It depends how long the game's going. Usually the game's over. You don't usually buy everything by this point, but sometimes you do. It just depends. But this is really cool because anytime you're taking a lot of damage, which if you're kind of frontlining a lot, then you're going to be taking a lot of damage. And it's going to reduce the cooldown on a random ability by 3 seconds. So it's going to make so you can ult way more often. And it's a random ability. So if only one of your abilities are on cooldown, for example, like if only Quantum Entanglement is, when you have all these things, like Quantum Entanglement is like a 7-second cooldown. Anytime you get hit, it reduces 3 seconds. You can run Quantum Entanglement like just constantly. It gets crazy. Divine Barrier is really good. Even more ability range. Again, it is effectively a debuff remover that you can cast on other people. Huge, huge, huge shield. Barriers are now affected by resistances because now there's not like bullet and spirit. Now it's just all combined, and they are affected by resistances, so that's actually pretty good. Refresher, there's no stats on this, but again, this is just, you want to press ult twice, there you go, you grab this. This is nice because it does give you the freedom to one-man ult more freely in the late game. Like if you see one guy that's high net worth and you catch him out with an ult, and it's okay because you can just refresh and do it again. You can do it again, right? This is almost, in my opinion, is almost a situational, but I just put it in here because you're more. Situational is like good in certain situations. This is good like always, but you just don't always get it, if that makes sense. Okay, let's go over the situationals when we talk about when we would get them. Healing Right, I would pretty much only get this if I want to build into a Healing Nova, to be honest. It's a good item. It's AoE heal. They did nerf it. Before, it would heal more, depending on how many people were receiving a heal. Now it just does a heal. but it does scale with spirit power now, so it's alright. It does scale late game. Return Fire gives you some bolt resistance, plus it does give you the active, basically shut down like a Haze or, I don't know, a Viper or something like that. Metal Skin, very similar thing to this, and again, it's kind of just whatever playstyle you want to do. This one is cheaper. Not quite as good, to be honest, but it is cheaper, so it's whatever you want. Rebuttal, for laning against people who love spamming melee. Knockdown, it's against anyone who flies a lot, you know. 7 ults, Vindictas, Grey Talons. It's even honestly good against Haze, Dynamo. Obviously, you're the Dynamo, so there's not Dynamo, but like, it's just a good item. Ethereal Shift, this is pretty cool because it can be cancelled. It's really expensive now. It does give you a huge buff right after the shift fades, you get another buff. And it gives you a pretty good buff. This is more situational than most of these, but I can still see some times where you would want to get this. Because if you have this, on top of all your other stuff, it's going to be really hard to kill you. And a lot of times with the Ethereal Shift, depending on when you Ethereal Shift, sometimes people will kind of bunch up around you, and it can give you time to call out to your team like, hey guys, I'm going to ult right off of this shift, so get in here, right? Plus you'll have extra stats for the ult. Magic Carpet, this is basically, it's more ability duration on the stats, which is nice for the heal and for the singularity. But it's also just kind of fun. If you like to fly around on a Magic Carpet and just catch people off and rotate quickly, it's a good item to get. It's fun. Curse is pretty much if you want to say frick you to one person. It silences them and disarms. So if there's like one person on our team that's even doing good, it's okay for someone to just grab a curse and just curse them every time. And there it is. Majestic Leap. This is kind of an alternative to Warpstone. It's not bad to have both, but usually I will go for one or the other, and I personally prefer Warpstone, but I still put it here because it's still really nice. This one gives you bullet resistance when you blink. This one gives you a barrier when you jump, so pretty good. Counterspell, it's a new item. It's really fun. It's actually kind of OP in my opinion. I don't know what they could really do to it. Maybe increase the cooldown, but I don't know. It's really fun. It's really good. You can counter pretty much everything. I think you can counter pretty much everything besides like Afterburn or something like that. But like any actual ability, whether it be Lash ult, whether it be Wraith ult, even a Mo ult, anything, you can just parry and then it just hits you and does nothing basically. So pretty good. Debuff Reducer can turn into either Unstoppable or Debuff Remover. Both of these are, these are all kind of optional. If you are going to go for a Debuff Remover, then Divine Barrier becomes less important to get, so you can maybe skip over this if you want a cheaper version, or you can go for the Unstoppable if you just want the debuff resistance plus the ability to have BKB for like your ult, right? And again, Monster Rounds, Cult of Sacrifice, this isn't necessarily like, oh, get this because it helps you farm faster. The gold is kind of nice, but it takes too long to really pay for itself to like justify. In my opinion, the reason why you'd go for something like this is because it does give you some orange in your category, which is good. 20% damage on that, plus the buff gives you 15% ability range and 300 health, which is really nice. That's my opinion. Obviously, it is what it is. Yeah, go try the build. Let me know what you think. I'm going to do an update for my Geist build also, and also an update for my 7 build. Yeah, I'll do an update for all my builds eventually, but I just wanted to start with this one because I had a friend asking me what he should do on Dynamo, and I just told him, hey, I'll make a build for you. Well, that's about it. See ya.